Okay, Seth Deacon versus Frank Gomez. Seth is 7-3. Frank is 7-1. Seth wins and loses by submission. His losses are to people like Charlie Valencia. Gomez, he's got loses by submission, wins by TKO, and he's beaten the likes of Noah Thomas. Now, let's have a look at this. Right. So it is still going to be stand-up versus submission. I think Seth Deacon's going to be trying for the submission, and Frank Gomez is going to be trying for the TKO. I'm going to go for Frank Gomez by TKO in the second for that one. Ricardo Lamas versus James Krause. Ricardo is 6-1. He wins usually by decision. Loses by I don't know. I've left that bit blank. How embarrassing. He's coming off a loss to Danny Castillo, but he has got wins over the likes of Bart Palaziewski. James wins usually by submission, and he's coming off a loss to Donald Cerrone. That was in his debut. He has no calibers on his record. I'm going to say that I think this might be a little bit of an upset, but I think James Krause might win. I'm going to go for submission. I'm going to go for choke in the third round there. Antonio Banuelos is fighting Kenji Osawa. Banuelos is 16-5. He's got 7 TKO victories, but he also loses by TKO. He's on a 2-fight win streak. He tends to lose to calibers. These include people like Manny Tapia, Charlie Valencia and Stephen Palling. Kenji Osawa is 15-8. He's got 9 decision victories, but he's also got 6 decision losses. He is also on a 2-fight win streak. I'm going to go for Antonio Banuelos, and I'm going to say that he will win by TKO in the third. John Franchi is fighting Cub Swanson. Now, Franchi is 5-1. He's never been finished, but he is coming off a loss. I don't like Cub Swanson, never have, never will do. I think that John Franchi will win. I'm going to say that I think he will finish Cub Swanson by choke in the first. Now, when's that happened before? Anyway, continuing on, Diego Nunes, with a perfect record of 13, wins usually by TKO and submission, but he hasn't got any calibers on his record, is about to face a caliber here in LC Davis with a record of 14-2. He wins again by TKO and submission, so they're both very well matched there. It could go to the ground or it could stay standing up. Now, I saw LC Davis in his training camp for this. I'm so going to go for him. I'm going to go for him by TKO in the second there. Alex Karalexis, with a record of 10-4, wins and loses by TKO. His past record is win, loss, loss, win. He's lost to the likes of Bart Palaziewski, Jason Von Flew and Kenny Florian, so all of those are pretty big names, calibers there. He is fighting Kamel Shaloris, who with a perfect record of 4, usually wins by TKO, and this is his debut. Now, I don't really think this is very, very good. I think this is supposed to be a little bit of a smush fest. Alex Karalexis is supposed to obviously beat this 4-0 person in his debut. Question is, will he? He's got 2 losses very recently, so they obviously want him to win. Both of them are TKO people, and he has fought extremely high caliber people. I'm afraid I think this is probably going to be the case, but I think he might go all the way to decision. I'll go for Karalexis by decision there. Incidentally, I do think, of course, that this means that LC Davis will give Diego Nunes his first loss. Danny Castillo, 8-1, wins and loses by submission. He is on a 3-fight win streak. He's fighting Shane Roller, who is 6-2, wins by submission but loses by TKO. He's lost recently to Benson Henderson, of course, you will remember. This is probably going to be a ground war with them both trying to submit each other, to be fair. I think Danny Castillo will probably win it. I'll go for submission, a bar submission in the second there. Razor Rob is fighting somebody called Karen Darabedian or something, 8-1. It's his debut. I'm going to go for Razor by knockout in the second there. Manny Gamborian, I recall that name from Tough. He has a record of 9-4, usually winning by submission, but his past record is not so good. Win, loss, loss, win. He's lost to all the calibers that he's fought, Nathan Diaz and Sean Shirk. He is fighting my good friend Leonard Garcia, who is fighting with a record of 13-4 out of the Jackson's training camp. Wins usually by submission, loses if he's going to by decision. He has losses to the likes of Roger Huerta and Cole Miller, and yes, he has beaten Jennifer Pulver. A sticking point between us two, but never mind. I actually don't think that they think that Manny Gamborian is a can here. I think they're expecting that he will cause a not too difficult upset. But you must remember that although Leonard is known for his stand-up, he can also wrestle as well. His majority of wins are by submission, so he should be alright with Manny. I think that Leonard will still choose to stand. I think that it will just enable, I think his background will just enable him not to be so taken down by Manny Gamborian. So I am going to go for Leonard Garcia by TKO in the third round. But I do think that if they go to the ground, he will be able to handle himself. I really don't have much problem in thinking that. Right, Mike Brown, you will remember, he is the guy who has 12 submission victories. He has a record of 22-4. He fights out of American Top Team. He's got 4 losses on his 4 submission losses on his record. He's on a 10-fight win streak. He's lost to the likes of Genki Sudo and Joe Lozon, but he has beaten Jeff Curran, Leonard Garcia and Uriah Faber, and that's twice with Faber, and most of those 4 are his last 4 fights. So, he is pretty big. Josie Aldo, on the other hand, is almost uncontrollable. He's almost unstoppable. This is going to be a really exciting fight. I don't really know how this is going to go down. Mike Brown has been thrown out of the frying pan and into the fire, and he has survived. Josie Aldo is one of these people who is a little bit of a gin himself, and so the two of them are probably going to be quite evenly matched. I don't know what is going to happen here. I could see it going both ways. I wouldn't like to comment. And I have no problem with either of them winning, really. I think it would be nice for Josie Aldo to win. And because I'm like that, I think if I was forced to pick, I would pick Josie Aldo. But I don't know how he's going to actually finish, that's the thing. And you know what it's like going to decision. So I'm afraid I'm just not going to make a decision on that one, but I could see it going either way. That's going to be a really, really exciting fight.